Now let's take a look at how to make our VLOOKUP formula a little bit more resilient. I'm going to jump back over to my spreadsheet. And in here, you remember I added industry and sector. And when I first did that, I actually punched in the wrong number for the column to return. The way this works is I tell it, hey, return column 7 of my table or array that I put here, which is in the company's sheet, columns A through G. Well, if I wanted to make this more dynamic, I can actually tell the VLOOKUP, hey, go take a look at the column header, in this case industry, and then go look and figure out which column that is in my table or array. Now this works using a formula called match. So I'm going to insert a column here just to show you how the match formula works, and then I'll basically bring it into the other one, building what's known as a compound formula. I'm going to type match, and it's going to be pretty similar to the VLOOKUP. It wants a lookup value. In this case, I'm going to give it the column header. And then it says, okay, where do you want me to look that up? And I'm going to go over to my companies tab. And if you recall, we were in A over to G. Now I'm just going to select the first row because the way this works, it doesn't do the whole scan of all of the table. It only looks at one specific array and says, okay, which column, do I want to return? What number column do I actually have here? I'll give it a comma and say I want an exact match and close it out. And you can see what it did. It gave me a 7. And in my VLOOKUP, that's exactly what I want in there. So I want this formula right where that 7 is. Now let's make this sure that it doesn't break when I copy it down. So first off, I want it to change as I copy it from column to column, but it always needs to look at the first row. So I'm just going to add that there. And then just like the other one, the array itself of where it looks up needs to remain static. So I'm going to make sure that both of these guys are completely locked in place. Okay, perfect. Now it's pretty simple. I'm just actually going to go and copy this entire formula without the equal sign. And then I'm going to go over into column K here, where my VLOOKUP is. And where the 7 is, I'm going to go ahead and just replace that, delete that, and paste in my other formula. Notice now it highlighted the column header because it's adding that as a point of reference. When I copied it in, look at that, it still works. So if I just copy this down, and I'm using Control D to duplicate the formula to the cells from the very top one down to the bottom ones, you can see that it worked. You can see where the formula changes as I scroll, but everything there is still functioning properly. Now if I delete this column, what I should be able to do now is just copy this entire formula over, and it'll automatically recognize that it's looking for sector, no longer industry. So as I copy this over, it shouldn't change anything. And there you go. It came back with the exact same result as it did before. So I'm going to highlight both of these, click on the bottom right corner, and it will copy it down to the rest of my sheet. And everything looks good. It looks like it's still working. I don't have any errors. All is good. Now, just to test it out, let's see what happened if I tried to change this to sector. You can see the entire column changed. And if I wanted this one to be industry, you can see how quick and easy that is. So we're making very resilient spreadsheets, data sources here. If I wanted to add a new column, you can see there's a lot more data here, the symbol, the IPO year, the market cap, all of that. I could actually just add that column, copy this formula over, and make sure that the column header matched, and it would automatically populate it for me. I wouldn't have to go through that same exercise. So I'm saving myself a few clicks, and I'm also making it a bit more dynamic. So as the needs or the questions of the data change, it doesn't take nearly as long to rehash and remassage all the data in all the formulas that I've already built.